Hi everyone, this is NoMusBar19 coming to you with a Starcraft 2 Wings of Liberty tutorial on how to play the Protoss. I am fairly good, quote-unquote, at Protoss because their unit constitution is fairly low, but their units are very powerful and very refined. And an interesting technique about the Protoss is, I'll show you in a minute, that their buildings, unlike the Terran and Zerg, do not require the probe to be at the building while it's building. You just place the warp point down and it warps the building in so that your probe can go do other things, which I find very helpful when you're trying to squeeze in more minerals to your build. Now, I have enough to build a pylon. A pylon is just your basic population raising house, quote unquote, yet again. Um, it's like the supply depot for the Terran and the Overlord for the Zerg, except it it is the only building that lets you build other buildings around it. See this ring around the building here? That is the space that you need to be able to stick your other buildings in. For example, I'm going to stick a gateway right there, and I'm going to show you that if you attempt to stick a building anywhere else, it just won't go. Um, Hang on a sec, I need to get more minerals so I can show you this. See that ring? If it's not in the ring, it won't let you build there. So that's pretty much what happens with the pylons. It lets you build buildings where you want to build, where the ring is. Now with the Nexus, which is basically your command center or hive for Terran and Zerg respectively, lets you chrono boost your Nexus or any other building for that matter to speed up production. So basically, if I want more probes coming out, I'm just going to queue up the probes, chrono boost it, and they'll pop out faster. Now my gateway is built, and I am going to train 2 zealots. Now a good defensive strategy for Protoss is to pump out 2 zealots to defend this point right here. This point right here is, excuse me, vital to the success of your defense because players love to mass Zerglings. And the Zerglings are the tiny little units that the Zergs produce. The Zerglings are really fast and they can just zip all up through here and take out your probes. So it's always a good idea to just block the way with zealots to make sure that the defense is proper. You can always put an assimilator down, which is basically a refinery. And yet again, you don't have to task your probe to create this because it just warps in. And see, I have a line of zealots right here. I can reform and do specific things. You're going to want to have to put down a cybernetics core. Whoops. A cybernetics core, there we go, because it lets you train stalkers and sentries. Now, I'll explain what stalkers and sentries do once the cybernetics core is down, but pretty much the sentry is a very good defensive utility unit. Stalkers are your basic ranged unit. There's not much more to it than that as far as the stalkers are concerned. Excuse me again. As far as the sentries go, they are quite excellent at blockading your ramp even more so. Okay, Cybernetics core is up. I will train 1 stalker to show you what they look like. And what I just placed here is a forge which lets me create a defensive building called a photon cannon. Now, photon cannons are like turrets, or I should say missile turrets, for Terran, because they sit in one spot and hit air units and land units. Missile turrets can't hit land units, but I digress. So basically, a common strategy is to build a bunch of photon cannons in the enemy's base, like say over in this position, and just keep creeping the photon cannons along a line until you reach their base. And I'm exaggerating with the length between the nexus and the line of photon cannons, but basically there's a strategy out there that's called cheese. Very strange, yes, I know, but basically when you cheese, you put a pylon here in the corner, and basically make more pylons, and then stick photon cannons here, and then just shoot at their base, and then they're finished. They can't do anything else. I mean, I would say it's annoying, but I've used it before, and it's super effective. I'm not gonna lie at all. And also, the other very important thing you need to do is make sure you have overlapping pylons around your units, and enough pylons. You do not want to be supply blocked like I am right now, because you're supply blocked, you can't make any more units, and this is what happens when you become supply blocked. Your army is trashed, and I'm probably going to lose. But, you know, for the sake of the tutorial, I stuck photon cannons here, so I'm probably not going to lose. Yep, see, they're retreating. See, that's your basic, very, very basic defense. Now, another really cool thing about Protoss is they can make warp gates. Now, warp gates are pretty much a teleporter, where you select your gateway, or just click W for the hotkey, and then you can just port your unit in wherever you want, where a pylon is. So say I have a pylon in, let me pause this. If I have a pylon in the enemy base here, I can click my warp gate and warp in a unit into the enemy's base while I have my pylon in here. So that way I have the advantage of surprise upon my enemy that way. So that is pretty much everything the Protoss can do in general. Now, there are other things that I can't quite get to in this video because it will be too long and too dragony. Yes, I just made up a word, dragony. You can create more nexi. You can make a, what are they called? I forget. Stargate, robotics facility. Robotics facility is my favorite because it can make colossi. If you've ever seen War of the Worlds and those huge towering alien constructs, those are colossi in Starcraft 2. So pretty much, the Stargate just builds air units, which is the Void Ray and Carrier. I do believe they're called carriers. Anyways, that is the Protoss, and I shall leave it at that, and continue with another video on the Zerg and Terran builds. Thanks for watching.